Hey everybody, it's Armchair. I kind of wanted to make this as a soft response to. It's not really the main reason, but I really started looking into what I wanted to say here and just different things, making sure I heard things right. After hearing some kind of keynote from Sam Altman. If you have no idea who this guy is, which I would be very surprised if you didn't know anything about him, he's that titan of a who founded OpenAI, which is a juggernaut of a company at this point, especially with ChatGPT. In this keynote, or whatever the hell, I'm not even interested in that right now. All I'm just going to say is he was at some kind of event where he was advertising. They were one model away from this particular AI model, where it'll make things easier for being able to run things and just do things in general, especially for CEOs who need to make decisions or whatever. People can have an AI model that looks through their documents, looks through their actions, things that they're doing. They'll be there in meetings and stuff, and it'll make suggestions like, oh, this is a really great idea, but I would suggest this instead. You know, something that a secretary can do, or someone who is actually looking over your practices and being able to deliver something that is a little bit more accurate in real time. And I mean, AIs can do stuff in real time too at this point, but you're still not gonna get as good of an answer as you would if you were going to rely on an actual person who might be concerned about results and accuracy. Because if they don't put forth that effort, their job is at stake. That effort that they put forth, along with the effort that all of these people take to be able to make sure that these workers are getting the actual resources they need, well, I would say that's still worth it. The human experience matters much more, as what they do is actually tangible. It's not working off a script, it's not working off of consultation guidelines where I'm blanking on the word for some reason, but it'll just be like, yeah, this is like, affirmation. It's not working off of any kind of affirmation which it has to give to someone. A person can be as blunt as they want to be, and sometimes that needs to happen. That brutal honesty is imperative to share in order for there to be improvement, if there needs to be any kind of improvement. And artists benefit heavily from critique. I should know because I took art classes when I was homeschooled from my grandma. She was my art teacher, specifically from my mom's side. She's still making paintings, and she's actually teaching a class for college. Teaching a bunch of different styles and things that she kind of taught me. I don't do that as much nowadays, although I really do appreciate being taught all of those things. There's still some things that she wants to teach me, like watercolor stuff. Things that we'll go over when we have time and when I can visit. But something that I've done now more than drawing, which I still kind of do from time to time when I feel inspired to do something by myself or with my partner, is photography. I mentioned I have a photography page. This is my photography page, and I do a lot of aviation spotting. Now, that is not easy. One, it's expensive, especially depending on where you're getting your resources, your gear, and stuff like that. It's quite a commitment of monetary cost. Sometimes it'll get you up to like thousands of dollars worth of budget. Although if you look at websites like MPB or whatever, you could probably find something for cheap. That alone is one thing. It's an entirely different animal learning how your gear works. that is something that takes lots of effort and lots of persistence and practice to try to get the result that you want. Some people will shoot photos compared to other people's and be like, why doesn't my photo look like this? We gotta learn different things that cameras do. You gotta learn how to manage those different tools and those different resources that are at your disposal. You gotta learn how exposure works, how to get the lighting right, how to get the right aperture depending on the set and depending on the setting, whether you're outside or inside or whatever. Does it need to be more open to let more light in a dark environment? Do you need to close it up because it's pretty bright outside? Or, do you need to close it up because you're trying to take a panning shot like this one so you can get a lot of background blur? And how much do you need to rotate your body so that you can minimize the amount of blur that is on the subject itself? Because if you're in a stationary place and you're just rotating your body, not traveling along with the object, you're gonna deal with motion blur on the object itself, on the subject itself. So what part are you willing to sacrifice in order to get something that looks a little bit sharper? Things like that. That takes practice and that takes a lot of effort and patience just to be able to learn how to really get the result that you're looking for. But eventually, the more you kind of hone on that practice and the more you do it, the better your results will be. That persistence is key. If you take a bad photo, don't let that push you down and be like, I guess I didn't get what I wanted. Maybe I never will. I should just seek something else out. Don't do that. Turn that into a learning experience. Reflect on that and think, what is it that I can do to take what just happened and try to perfect on that? Maybe not perfect it, but at least learn from it so that I can make it look more like the result that I was expecting. It might not be exact, but you'll probably get pretty damn close. As you put more and more and more effort towards getting closer to the results that you want, you'll start to recognize those shortcomings, you'll see those limitations pop up, and you'll start to use them to your benefit. And if you know how to do that, you've just about perfected your craft. On top of the effort that's set forth into taking the actual photo, you also need to think about what it is that you're going to do with it after. Did you shoot it in RAW? And if so, what are you going to do to make it look like the final product that you want it to look like? What kind of software are you going to use? And what are you going to do to put practice into building that muscle memory in the, just becoming familiar with the tool that you're using? Like if you're using Lightroom, Darktable, what can you do to just make editing on that software become second nature? There's a lot that goes into that. And I mentioned shortcomings, and I figured I'd just get this out of the way because I mentioned it on Instagram. I am trying to go to the Pacific Air Show, and this is kind of a story I'll tell here, because it's really cool. I'm going to try to go to the Pacific Air Show, and some people are dreading the Huntington Beach Air Show because they say it's backlit and it just doesn't look great. But again, if you take those limitations, you take the environment, you know what to expect, you can still get some results that look pretty damn good, like this one. Now, I've been doing this for years at this point. I've been going to air shows consistently since Camarillo in 2022. And that was a pretty fun show this year. I was able to watch someone named Tory Ward fly his microjet, and these are the pictures that I got of him flying. Tory and I were talking a little bit over the past few years, and he saw this photo I sent him the rest that I took during that show, along with others that I've been to where he flew, and he said, "These are some of the best photos I've seen of me flying at any of these air shows." Already, I really appreciated the compliment, and to that email, he asked, "Do you typically pay to go to these shows, or do they let you in for free as a photographer?" And I mentioned I do apply sometimes to media passes, but it's I've never been accepted, so I usually just pay the ticket. And I want to support these places for running these events too, so, there's no harm in doing that. And then he said something, and he sent an email to me saying, "I will pay for your wristband at the Huntington Beach Air Show. You will get into the general admission area for free." It was basically just going to be on him. I'm incredibly honored to get that. Now I just need to figure out how I'm going to get back to California from Utah. But, I could probably scrounge out some money, get a flight back for that weekend, and I have a place to stay, my family's there, so, at least in California, so, staying somewhere is the easy part. The harder part is just getting the flight here, but I could probably manage that. We'll see. But, in any case, if there's anything to take home from all of this, it's just that my efforts and all of the trouble that I put into just getting more and more invested into something that I just decided to do on a whim out of envy of, hey, I want to take photos like the ones that I see on Instagram. Putting all of that practice into there, putting all of the effort into perfecting my own craft and creating my own style that stands out from other people's, just to make things look good to my standards, not comparing it to anyone else's, although other people have created very, very beautiful pieces of art that I couldn't even compare some of my own shots to. But I'm still proud of how far I've come, though. And I'm proud that something I helped create with my own two hands is held so highly by someone else. Hope you found that interesting. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys again very soon.